death penalty ever OK? Now, this is a 32-year-old Valdo Calconi fatally stabbed Nottingham students Barnaby Webber and Grace Kumar and a school caretaker, Ian Coates, last June. Their families say justice was not served. He was given a manslaughter charge and will be held in a secure hospital. And I think if he does get better, then he'll end up in prison anyway. But they say justice wasn't served. Do you think a custodial prison sentence is enough for these people, or what do you think? What would you do? Ruthless killers, although, let's be fair, he had mental health issues. But that's why I'm asking, is the death penalty ever OK? Well, let's see what my panel make of that. Joining me now, broadcaster and journalist Danny Kelly and author and broadcaster Christine Hamilton. Christine Hamilton.
Is it ever OK? Well, I'm very conflicted about this. I think it's barbaric in a way for the state to take life. On the other hand, there are people who, frankly, forfeited their life, and that fellow is one of them. And it's all very well to say he's mentally deficient, or however they phrased it.
But he is.
Other people have said, in his case, the experts said he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. So on the one hand and on the other. But bad cases or one case doesn't make good laws. And I agree with you. It's obvious he did it. We saw him do it, etc., etc. So it's a cut and dried. But there have been miscarriages of justice over the years. And, you know, Timothy Evans in 1950, he was...
Yeah, but let's
Derek Bentley, Stefan Kisco very recently.
Well,
you say yes, but Stefan Kisco was 1976. That's exactly what I was going on to say. Nowadays, all those people were not Derek Bentley, but Stefan Kisco was DNA'd innocent. With the DNA, they proved that it couldn't have been him. So now it's much easier to know exactly whether somebody did it or they didn't. And there's the Birmingham Six, for example. They would have swung, to use a colloquial expression.
Well, not necessarily.
Yes, they would, because they were convicted. Life imprisonment. They would all, if we'd had the death penalty, they would, and they were then subsequently proved to be innocent. So I don't like it. I understand the strong emotions, and somebody who's done all that, frankly, doesn't deserve to live. That's my view. But that is different from saying the state should sanction taking of life. It's a step too far.
I don't think so at all.
I know you don't.
I absolutely don't think so. And that's not to be cruel. I just think, actually, it's crueler to keep people like this alive for longer. And there was the case in America. They tried nitrogen. They used nitrogen for the first time. I don't know whether you heard about that case.
22 minutes or something?
22 minutes.
Well, hang on. He was unconscious very quickly.
Yeah, but apparently he was writhing around, and everyone's saying, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. Listen, I don't want anybody to suffer in any way, shape or form, but I have to be honest and say that I don't really care. You know, it would be better to kill somebody who is on death row quicker.
The guillotine is about the most effective method. But it's going to be killed anyway, so I don't think it really matters.
You're not going to bring back the guillotine.
I didn't say I was. I'm just saying, if talking about methods, the guillotine...
Instant?
Yeah, it was absolutely instantaneous.
OK,
back.
all right.
But you've got a whole prelude towards it. But
OK, sorry. I mistook that for...
I am not wanting the guillotine back. Please don't, honestly.
Just want the guillotine.
Calm down, Twitter.
I'm conflicted too. Is the death penalty...
Please don't sit on the fence. You'll break it.
Does it work?
Come up with something.
Does it work as a deterrent? I would argue it doesn't. There's lots of places. Well, America's full of death row prisoners.
Yeah, but it might be full of... if there was no death penalty, there might be even more.
Nana, well,
people say that the firearms...
Neither do you.
People taking firearms...
I would say the body of evidence suggests that it's not a deterrent.
Well,
because there's thousands of people on death row.
Let me give you somewhere like Qatar. I'm pretty sure there's a death penalty there. Do you know how the crime rate is so low? Yeah. Do you know when the
British... they chop your hand off for thieving.
Exactly, because they take it seriously. When the British went there for the World Cup, you noticed that none of the British people ended up in prison.
There was no booze allowed.
Yeah, but you could have had booze if you were going to.
No, it was a dry tournament.
But there were places that... But you could have got away with it. Some people probably tried to do it, but they wouldn't, because they knew that they'd be punished properly.
Well,
that's why. So
the biggest
punishment is a deterrent.
The biggest deterrent is fear of... deterrent is fear of being caught.
OK,
sorry, your turn.
In Western secular democracies...
Yes, exactly.
In Western secular democracies, I would argue it's not deterrent, and I would suggest...
Why is it only not deterrent in the West? We are all...
Because we're not... Yes, but we're talking about secular rather than religious governments. So Qatar is a religious government, I think.
So what, though?
So that they're deeply Islamic and they have Sharia law, and if you get caught shoplifting, you lose your hand.
But you just proved it. That those things are a deterrent, though.
Yes.
Whatever you are, those things are deterrent. If you apply punishment correctly, then people will be deterred from doing the crime. There'll be some who will do it anyway, but we're talking about the majority
would you chop a shoplifter's hand off then?
Precisely the question I was going to ask.
Murders are not committed by serial killers. They're committed by...
Danny and I have a joint question. We both thought of it
together.
I'm too...
together.
All right, 2, 3.
I'm too frightened to ask.
Would you chop off the hand of a shoplifter in this country?
What's that got to do with the death penalty?
Because you're using supporting evidence to say that capital punishment works.
So let me answer.
It would stop people shoplifting.
Do you want me to answer?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, OK, let me be very clear.
Got her on the rack.
As I said, it is a deterrent. So in countries where they have strict, harsh punishments, they work as a deterrent. So if we relate it to the death penalty would be, in my view, a deterrent.
I don't think it would. If you're going to murder somebody...
No, I'm not sure you have.
I've talked about it as a deterrent. So where in the countries where there is a deterrent and that deterrent is applied effectively, it works.
OK, so you've been a strong advocate for the death penalty. Surely you would be an advocate for chopping people's hands off them.
No, I'm not.
Well, you can't have both.
What I am is an advocate of, if you apply a rule, then that rule should be applied correctly. And in this country, if someone does something like this guy, Calzoni, obviously it's not about him, but something like that, where you know they've done it, in my view, the death penalty would apply.
Let me answer your question.
No.
Can I...
You asked me at the beginning,
next.
am I a fan of the death penalty? Go on, Christine.
No, you answered. You said he's not.
No, I said I was conflicted, but after listening to both bits of evidence, I now have a conclusion. I'd like to change my mind.
What would you like to say?
I don't want the death penalty.
Oh, right, so the two of you. Yeah, go on, Christine.
We're talking about deterrence. I can't give you the figures because it's not something that I've looked at, but I heard people a few days ago saying that when somebody to do with firearms anyway, that far more people now, carry firearms. It's really supporting your case to an act of a criminal act because they know there's going to be no death penalty.
Exactly.
Well, I can't even say it.
Exactly. So look, listen. So if you know there's a death penalty, there's a lot of...
I don't think that's what...
by people who probably would, who are perfectly sane that probably wouldn't have done it if they'd known there'd been a deterrent.
I do. I don't think it's a deterrent.
I think so, and I think a lot of people wouldn't consider it. Whereas I think with things like...
well, hang on. Life in prison is a pretty ghastly prospect, if it meant
nobody
life.
Ever goes to prison for
I
life.
know they don't, but that's what they should do.
There are lifers.
If
you kill someone with a weapon like a gun, I think it's a minimum 25 years.
Yeah, that's quite a deterrent.
Now, that's a deterrent, but it doesn't stop people using guns.
Because they don't think they're going to get caught. That's the problem.
That's because they don't think they're going to get caught. Absolutely.
So capital punishment won't work either.
If you think, well, we need to improve the rest of our systems as well.
I just don't think...
everything else like that. But I do believe that we need to start considering that.
I don't think a civilised country should commit institutionalised state murder.
I don't believe that is a measure of civility at all. I think, actually, in some cases, people might argue it's more barbaric to lock someone up for a long, long time.
I can't believe Christine wants to reintroduce the guillotine.
I do not want to reintroduce the guillotine.
Come on, let's find out what they think, because the show's nothing without your views. Let's welcome our great British voices, their opportunity to be on the show and tell us what they think about the topics we're discussing. I've got 4 of you. Julie Ford. Oh, 3 of you. Julie Ford, I'm going to start with you. The death penalty, is it ever OK?
I think it is OK, but as your panel have already said, you need to make sure that these people have genuinely committed the crime. There isn't any possibility or probability that it
I'm the one that said it, Julie. None of them said it. They wouldn't have it.
Apologies. But I think looking at the figures as well, practically, we've got just over 87,000 prisoners in prison at the moment. 7,000 of those are lifers, but only 71 people have got life sentences with no possibility of parole. Those would be the people open to the death penalty. That would only free up 71 places in prison. Is that really a deterrent?
Well, you say that. Well, you say that, but then there might be fewer people going to prison if they know that there's a potential of a death penalty, because I think it would deter quite a few of them. John Reid.
Nana, this is a topic I know an awful lot about, and for once I disagree with you, Nana. I don't think there is ever a case for the death penalty. And I say that because I've sat in prison with people convicted of murder. I've spoken to them at length, and these people do it for a reason, and they do it because either it's their job or they've got a grudge or whatever the reason is. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't be disposing of people's lives. We should be dealing with them in a better way. A long prison sentence is the answer. Is there going to be a deterrent in anything we do? No, I don't think so. I don't think they actually think to, oh, we better not do this because we might get locked up. So I'm not in favour of the death penalty. I am in favour of good prison holding them afterwards.
I think prisons, whilst you say that, a lot of people don't think prisons are that bad. David Barham in Watford.
Yeah, I actually do believe, but within certain parameters.
Exactly.
So we have take the case of, forget the guy in Nottingham, but we take the case of the gangsters in Liverpool who walked into a pub at Christmas and shot it up. Or the ones that raced down the street, charged into someone's house to try and kill somebody else. That's premeditated murder on a whim. Not on a whim, because they upset somebody else. We have jails full of Albanian hitmen who are basically going to get deported back. So if they value life so little that they're prepared to take somebody else's life for them, and they're not worried about being in prison because, hey, that's part of the job, then I'm very sorry, death penalty comes with the job, but only where it is a proven fact. You can't deny Ian Huntley, why should he be allowed?
Exactly.
It's proven that he committed it. So, sorry, get rid of them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There you go. So finally, somebody, a man after my own heart. Thank you very much, Julie, John, and David Barham. Fabulous.